All right, well, welcome, everybody. We will get started for K-8 Science. And this title is titled Unlocking the Full Potential of Your Program. We are assuming that most of you are current TCI teachers. So we'll definitely do like kind of an orientation at the beginning, excuse me, an orientation at the beginning, kind of see how the layout works, see how a unit works, see how a lesson works. But then we'll move into the main two changes this year. So there's some new cool slideshows and there are some new resources. So if, I just want to make sure, so if we do move too quickly through any of the kind of layout and orientation pieces, the other piece at the end that we're very excited about is we have a great new built-in professional development. And so really all the details, if there's more that you want to learn about for assessment or for grading or for some specific piece, we'll have all that too. So try to balance it today. I know it's going to be a balance of teachers that have different experience levels with TCI, so hopefully we'll get you what you need for that. First is housekeeping stuff, which you are all getting very good at. So it looks like everybody's found the chat. Again, that blue button is the key. Make sure you've clicked the blue button and changed it from host and panelists to everyone instead. Otherwise, you're just going to be sending it to me and Stephanie, Nicole, and Laura. And then if you do need closed captioning, there's a button at the bottom of Zoom that you can use. And then today, I will probably miss it if you raise your hand. You're more than welcome to raise your hand, but I may or may not see it. So please do use the chat for kind of just answering and interacting. And then use the Q&A if you have a question that you definitely need an answer to. So it's fine to put questions in chat, but they may get lost just because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of different ideas. But if you have a question specifically that you need an answer to, if you put it in Q&A, then that makes sure that one of the TCI peeps will get to you. So my name is Nathan. I'll be one of your TCI guys for today. I was in the classroom for 10 years, and I was a nerd who loved lesson planning. And so that's now my job at TCI. So I work with our content and curriculum teams. So it works with teachers across the country for science and for social studies. And so I love it. I'm very passionate about getting good activities, getting good investigations into your hands. We also love feedback. So I'll probably say it a couple different times, but please do not be shy of sending in ideas to our main email, info@teachtci.com. So send in any ideas you have there. There's also a feedback button that is built into your teacher resources. So please make sure to do those. And Jennifer, do you mind throwing that question in chat into the Q&A just to make sure that one of us gets it? So the other three TCI helpers that we have on here are Stephanie, which is one of our trainers. She's in the classroom right now in training. Nicole, which is one of our developers. So she helps actually develop and create investigations and activities. And then Laura Obert is also in the classroom right now, and she is one of our TCI national trainers who knows both science and social studies at the elementary level. So hopefully between the four of us, we can get any questions answered that you need. And so just don't be shy, reach out. All right, so this is a quick survey. If you can scan that QR code, that's one way to get to it. The other way to get to it is to type in MENTI, menti.com into, it could be a computer browser, it could be your phone, it can be anything. So either phone or computer, whatever is easiest to use. I think phone is really easy on these. Or you can do the QR code and scan that. And then what I would like you to do is you'll see a little map that will pop up, and then you can put your location. So just so we can get a visual sense of where everybody is located. And then once you pick your spot, you hit the blue submit button. And then they'll start popping up here on the screen, but I'm going to leave it over here for just a second. If you need to go to either menti.com and put that code in, or scan using the QR code. So a couple more seconds. Thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate you putting that in the Q&A. And I think Laura said she was working on it. And Melanie, while everybody is typing or finding their location, Melanie asked a question that I think is good for everybody here, just when the session is going to be recorded. So these are all being recorded. And so afterwards, they will be available. There will be a form that you'll fill out at the end. So just kind of a basic, simple eval form. And then your certificate will get emailed to you, and then a link to all those sessions, and all these sessions will get linked to you. And so then you can just pick the sessions that you want to show. All right, let's see how we did on the map. So good, oh, lots of them filling in. So I did see a lot of Northwest. I got a good Northwest group up here, 11 up here in Washington, a lot of smattering of California. I see I'm by myself in Texas, which is not too surprising because we are not an NGSS state. So we are, of course, can't do anything like anybody else. Although I get to work with all of you guys nationally, I'm stuck down here in Houston. Is that New Jersey? Looks like we have 14 good clump of New Jersey people too. Good. All right, so pretty good mix across the country of different spots. And then the second question that I would like you to answer is, which grade level are you in? So which of these bands, K2, 3, 5, and 6, 8? And on your phone or computer, it should just switch to this question. And then I'll leave it on the answers here that are pulling in. Okay, so it looks like a pretty good mix. When you guys were coming and chatting, it looked like a good mix. So this is verifying that we really are spread throughout. Oh, and definitely, yes, I'm sure there's lots of people who have an overlap of either also 5 and 6. I probably should have put that too. So a lot of California schools are K6. Okay, so more elementary, but a pretty good balance. But this is just good for us to kind of remember throughout the session. And I will try. I'm going to use 5th grade because it's right in the middle. So I'll do 5th grade as the sample as we're going through, and then the layouts should be very, very similar. We worked actually quite hard this last summer to try to get them as similar as possible. So that way, if you switch from 5th to 6th grade, it will not be so jarring, and it'll be easier for you to make that change. So let's get started then on what we'll be covering. So like I was saying earlier, we'll do like kind of a basics of TCI. So that could be super, super quick if nobody has questions. So I'll try to just stop and keep asking for questions. Just throw them in chat as you have them. So basic navigation, kind of how you move through your TCI teacher materials. And then I want to spend some time at this new slideshow delivery format. So we've been working, our software team has been working really hard to create a new type of, we're calling it like the new slide builder. And basically it's how the investigations will get delivered to students. And there are a lot of huge advantages for it. One of the big ones is you can share it with students. You'll be able to edit like you have not been able to edit in the past. Like right now you could just do, in elementary, you couldn't edit anything. In middle school, you could edit only the words on the screen and you could hide slides, and that was it. So now you'll have a lot more power across all of K-8 to edit slideshows. So I'm very excited to show you those and spend some time on the new slideshows. And then finally, we'll talk about new resources that are built into your teacher resources and that we are still rolling out over the year, and also in-app PD that is new. All right, so for the basics, this hopefully if you're an elementary teacher, one of these looks kind of familiar and that you've seen this program icon. So this is our kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade programs. And then middle school has a modular system. So there are 9 programs. And then you're going to use different combos. So like you guys saw that you were spread out pretty well across the country. And you definitely are going to have different mixes of how you'll organize these. So we do have a California integrated program that's kind of already done for you where it sets up and like puts them together in the order suggested by California. But depending on where you are, you may mix and match these different 9 modules, but there are 3 Earth, 3 Life, and 3 Physical Science modules. All right. So for the basic navigation piece, program components should be pretty similar in elementary and in middle school, but in elementary, everybody, the screen is real big here because that's the key component, right? So that's going to be your teacher resources. That's what we'll go through today, are the teacher resources and how you use them. On the left side, you see a materials kit there. So that's the kit that comes to help support the hands-on investigations that you'll be doing. There are picture cards. So the picture cards are either things that you cut out or that will be placed at stations. And in middle school, they are called placards instead of picture cards. And the elementary has science journals. Probably, I would say probably 95% of you have the science journals. There was an old textbook in the very first version of it. So a few of you may be using the textbook still, so that's okay. That still works fine. And then there's the science journals is what most of you will be doing as the elementary. And the middle school is going to be exactly the same, right? So again, teacher-student access online, you'll have that materials kit. And then the difference is instead of the journals, there's going to be a physical print notebook, or a print textbook, and a print interactive student notebook. So any program components, questions about things that you have or things that you don't have? And then all these pieces are also in Spanish. So if you do need them in Spanish, make sure that you do ask these for your district. All right, so then let's look at how kind of those components will work together. So let's look at the teacher account and how the goal of all of it is to move through, to start with observing phenomena in the orange section here. So there'll be some sort of different, one phenomena or multiple phenomena that they will look at. A series of three-dimensional investigations. They'll make sense of that phenomenon. And then finally, at the end, we'll have the 3D assessments. And so this cycle is going to be the same cycle within each unit and then also within each lesson. And so let's spend a little time looking at those pieces. The unit structure in this unit page, these were revamped not this last summer, but the summer before. So hopefully you've been getting more comfortable with them and kind of finding these pages easier and easier to use. And so the unit structure page is found when you just start on that. This is the beginning program contents page. So each of the units is in the box here. And so you would just pick whichever unit. So if you were doing changes in matter or Earth, the Moon, and the Stars, then you'd click that green button to explore the unit. And then note that it takes you over here on the sidebar to unit overview. So there's multiple ways to navigate TCI, right? So if you already know where you're going, you could click on unit overview here and just jump straight to the unit. And then you can also switch between units and lessons with this drop down. So just play around with those different methods if you are brand new to TCI for navigating that process. You can use the sidebar and you can also use this drop down bar. When you're in the unit level, the number one thing, especially even if and a lot of teachers who started with TCI, this was like maybe your second year, so you may have skipped these unit pieces and gone straight to the lesson, which is totally acceptable, especially for your first couple of years of implementation. But if you are getting to like year 3 or so, then this would be a good time to look back at these unit pieces and see, can I use some of these initial phenomena, initial videos to get students interested in the unit and to get them excited. So I'll just play a clip of it here, but this video will be one that introduces each of the units. So you can just hit play.
Welcome to the Pancake Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Lopez, the head chef. Have you ever made pancakes? First, you mix solid and liquid ingredients. This makes a gooey liquid batter, but when you pour it on a pan, it turns into a fluffy solid pancake. How do these ingredients change into something so different? What other changes might take place when the ingredients are mixed or heated? You'll use what you learn in this unit to take a closer look at different pancake ingredients. Then, you'll discover what happens when you cook pancakes. I look forward to joining you in the Pancake Test Kitchen.
So the introduction for the unit, what it is really pulling for is it's going to talk about the opening anchoring phenomenon, so that you have all these random materials and you put them together and you put that liquid batter together, all of a sudden it turns into a pancake. So what's happening there? So there's going to be an anchoring phenomenon that they'll be able to explain by the end of the unit. And then the storyline is that you're going to be in this pancake test kitchen. And this is what ties to that performance assessment at the end. So the unit pieces are all going to be in the unit projects. So there's 2 ways to get to or 3 ways to get to the unit projects. They were back on the table of contents page. They're also linked right here. So we have the making sense of the anchoring phenomenon and the performance assessment. And then finally, you can just use the sidebar and click unit projects to get there as well. So kind of 3 different ways to see those unit projects. So the first step that you'd have students do then is that they watch that first video. And then it really gives, there are some slides here that are built in to help you teach and introduce that first video. So it has some questions that you could discuss with students before they watch the video. Then they'd play the video. And then it says, let's think about this unit's anchoring phenomenon, list all the things that they know and they wonder, just related to the unit's anchoring phenomenon. And then after the lessons, they would come back. So let me just blow this up to full screen here for a second. So after each of the lessons, then students come back and type into their journal or into their interactive student notebook in middle school, what they learned in each one of these. And then there's an answer key that kind of gives a link to each of these pieces as to what they would be covering through. So that's the first piece of each of the units that if you haven't had a chance yet to try, I would try out. You don't necessarily have to do every single lesson and make every single connection, but it does just kind of set the stage for students and give them something that you can discuss. Even if you're not going to do the performance assessment, I think it's still fun to kind of introduce it and start talking about those phenomena that are tied in that introductory unit. And then the real goal is to get to the performance assessment. So if you do the performance assessment, and frankly, you could skip all the lessons. Well, it'd be hard for students to do this, but you could skip all the lessons and just do the performance assessment. If students can do the performance assessment and follow and conduct each of these steps, conduct the investigation, make the pancake better, measure and graph the changes in weight, develop a model, describe what happens, then they for sure know all the performance expectations that they're expected to in this unit. Now, in order to realistically do that, right, to develop a model, they kind of need to learn like, well, what is a model of matter? And so that's where like the first couple lessons will help them. In order for them to learn about the measuring and graphing, they want to actually try, how do I do an investigation? So there'll be examples where they model investigation. So you will want to do the lessons so that students build the skills necessary in order to complete the performance assessment. But we have had some schools that treat this very much like project-based learning and really focus on just, our goal is to do this performance assessment, and then they go back and they learn just what they need to learn, like what pages do we need to read, what sections do we need to read in order to complete that performance assessment. At the same time, we know time is difficult, right? So like if you need to skip the performance assessment, that is ultimately okay too. Originally when NGSS came out, really the goal was to be able to assess students based on three-dimensional learning, and there's no better way to do this than to do it in a performance assessment, to truly say like, did you get these SEPs of modeling and carrying out investigations? Did you understand the cross-cutting concepts of cause and effect and scale and proportion? So this really is the ultimate goal. But if you even do 1 or 2 a year, that would be awesome if time is too tight. So any questions about anything on the unit level here of the performance assessment or about the making sense of the anchoring phenomenon pieces in elementary or middle school? So I'll pause for a second to see if you have questions on performance assessment stuff. And yes, definitely, Agnes, we will definitely share it with. So actually, Laura, do you mind just sending Agnes the, the form to fill out? So that way she'll get for sure the link to the webinars. And we can email it to you as well if your computer dies too soon. Okay, so I don't see any questions on it. So again, performance assessment, ultimately they are optional, but a lot of them are really fun. A lot of them are, they truly are the goal of NGSS. So I would encourage you to take another look at those if you haven't had a chance to yet. All right, so that is the unit level. There also, I didn't mention it, there also is a connecting the sciences or interdisciplinary sciences, I think is what's called in middle school. These are 100% optional, but they are lots of really cute ways and cool ways to connect earth, life, and physical sciences. So if your school or district is pushing to really try to integrate as much as possible, then these just give you some more tools to do that. And it'll just have a series of different slides and questions that will be related to connecting different sciences across each other. But again, the 100% optional, I'd say almost 90% of elementary teachers skip those, but they are really neat. So if you have great for enrichment or great for also for parents, because it's just great discussion topics that a lot of times parents are like with too, because it's just good phenomena. Okay, so that is the unit structure. And then let's look at the new lesson structure. So this was also rolled out last summer. So hopefully you've had a year to kind of get used to how the page is laid out. The way it's set up is that it'll give you your lesson options first, and then if there's a dive deeper option, so there are some extra readings and extra pieces that are in dive deeper, 100% optional in this middle section. So don't feel like you need to do any of the dive deepers, and then assess with are all your assessment options that are there. So let's look at that for this first lesson in unit 3. So again, I'm going to use the drop down here of lesson 1. You could also go back to the unit overview page, and there'll be a little card that says lesson 1, and you can click on that. So when you're on the lesson overview page, so there'll be the planning box, and I will not walk you through all the pieces of the planning box, but you can see there'll be an overview. In any of the elementary science investigations that have kit materials, there's a video that walks through how to use all the kit pieces and how to put it together. We haven't had a ton of requests for those in middle school, but please do send us to info or put us in feedback if you think these kind of videos are just kind of walks you through the investigation would be helpful. Just let us know if there's a certain investigation that you think it'd be helpful for in middle school. In elementary, every single one that has a kit should have that already, because just extra support for you to help kind of visualize what the investigation is. There'll be a materials button that gives you links, tells you what's in your kit, has all the pieces that are here. Science background button that gives you the content, so just summary at the teacher level about what you need to know, so you don't have to go and read all the text yourself. The learning progression will tell you where you fit in to NGSS here and kind of where your piece fits. So it's nice to know I don't have to go much further. In 2nd grade they learned this is what I'm actually doing in 5th grade, and then in middle school they're going to do something more advanced. So I don't have to actually talk about atoms yet. So that's going to be later on. And so I don't need to do that in my grade. Differentiating instruction will give you lots of different ideas for how you can modify the investigations. And then enhancing learning has lots of cool websites and simulations, trade books that you can do. Please do, there's a little note to send us a message at info if you find any broken links or anything. Like, stuff is moving around constantly, so sometimes we have to change the page or find a brand new website for you. So just let us know if you ever hit a broken link on these enhancing learning. So that's what you do first, is go to your planning, review this orange box. That's the most important step. And then if you scroll down, you'll have your lesson options. So this is the flexible lesson options. You could just read the text and do the notes. You could do the investigation. And then in elementary, there is this third video activity option. So it's called Super Simple Science. In middle school, we are actually working on giving you a video activity option as well. So right now in middle school, you'll just have the first 2 boxes, and elementary will have all 3 of the boxes. So I'll show you one of those middle school ones coming up a little bit later about these new videos that we're creating for the key science concepts. So literally every single lesson will have a video in middle school that will summarize the key content, and then we'll have some questions that goes with it. So we're very excited about rolling that out over the course of this year for middle school. And then elementary, you already have it. So these 3 options you can use. There's the text with notes. So if you click on this one, it'll take you straight to the text to read, and then it'll have any little interactives here that students will do, like the little buttons that they click on. You'll have the text. You can click on the images to blow them up. One change this year that just happened, so if your students like the main ideas button, it changed from a star to a little light bulb. So we think that it kind of better represents the point. So it's just the key main concepts. If you click that main ideas button, it highlights in blue just the key parts of this. So if a student only reads these blue pieces, they'll have a pretty good sense of, like, these are the main ideas of this this section. So remember, the main ideas button is a great tool, but you can turn it off if you feel like it's cheating. So you can leave it on for all students, turn it off for all students, or you can set it by individual student. And that's just in your settings is where you would do that. Other pieces should all be the same. So you should still see the text to speech. You should have an option for it playing the text for them. There's the reading level. So if you go down to the B reading level, that will be 25% lower Lexile. And then students can highlight using the different colors. I think 2 more were added last year, so there should be 6 colors now, and then download the text drive. So that's always option 1, is to have students read the text, and then there will be the notebook questions right below it. Right. That's first option. If we go back to the lesson overview page, the second option is the investigation piece. And so for the investigation piece, there will be, these are the new slideshows that I'll open for a second, but we won't go into it right now, but in just a couple minutes, we'll go back to it. So there's investigation slideshow, I'll click it to open it, and then that will give me all the steps and the directions for the investigation. So I'll go through this a little bit more in just a second, but this is the part I'm excited about too. This green button here for elementary, you'll see that says new format, same grade activity. So this will have all the same content in it, but should be a much more easy to use format for you and for your students. The other cool thing is that you can share these directly with students. So you can create an assignment. So you can actually assign the investigation to students, and you can edit the investigation, which you weren't able to do before. So these are the new pieces that I'll talk about in just a second. So option 1 is reading. Option 2 is to do the investigation. And option 3 is that video activity. So in the elementary level, the video activity is the super simple science, where it'll have just a reading that will be read to students, and then a little mini investigation. So these are really short. I would say these are usually 20 to 30 minutes where students will do like a little mini investigation. And these are also good outs if you don't have time for any of the, the whole investigation, then just use this as like a, just 30 minutes on a Friday, and at least you'll have done some science and kind of hit those key ideas. And like students will be working with models and doing those 3-dimensional ideas here. And then there'll be that reading that goes along with it. And the nice thing too is they can either watch the video or they can read. So they'll have both those options there for those super simple science. All right, so that is the 3 options. Yeah, Laura, go ahead.
Nicole, there was a question about how things would look on a student view. So whether it's now or later, if you would just be sure to show that, please.
Yeah, and that is, so at any time, the way that you'll do it, and I don't know if I keep having to add a student, but let me see if I have a student. I do have a fake student. Okay, so I have a fake student. So when you're in your classes, you'll see a list of students like this. So you might not see them right now because they have to be rostered by your district. Unless you're in like a private school and you have to add your own kiddos, then you put them in yourself here. but for most of you, they'll be rostered in. So you find this My Classes button, and then you click on your list of students. And this is actually the same place that I can turn on and off all those features I was talking about. So like the main ideas button, the allow students to read aloud, can they see Spanish? Can they see level A and level B? So you can set all of your settings here for students. And then it's a little hard to see. There is a key. So that key on the far right, if you scroll over it, it says sign in as this student. So that's how you can sign in and look to actually see exactly what this student is seeing on their side. So I'm going to click sign in. You can see there's like a big green frame around it that says like that you've been signed in as. To get back to your teacher account, there's the orange return to teacher account button in the upper right corner. And then so now I'm literally seeing exactly what my students are seeing. And so if I had assigned this student something, then it would show up right here in the assignment page, or they can click and go straight to the text, or they could go to an investigation. So if they are going to an investigation, then like they can use this drop down to go back and forth, and it'll be based on what you've assigned to students. So let's actually go try one real quick. So if I am over here, and then if I create an assignment, so you could assign the text. This little calendar icon is always the assign. You could assign the text, you could assign the investigation, or you could assign the video activity, the super simple science. So let's assign the investigation slides. So you do create an assignment, lesson 1, investigation activity. It defaults to that piece, but you can still change it to the other ones if you want. Set a date, and you can type in whatever you want here. So I'm clicking assign. So now let's see. So now when I go over to my kiddos class, nope, manage students. And so now because I assigned it, now this assignment's popped up on your student side. And so then students can click straight here, and it says, you know, it's start on 7/27, it's due on 7/28. They click this, and then it takes them straight to that investigation that you assigned. So you can assign the text that way, the investigation that way, or the super simple science that way. Okay. And Anne has a good question about assigning the main ideas button. So you don't necessarily assign the button, you assign the ability to, or you allow the ability to use the button. So as long as I have kept this on for the main ideas button, then this student can use it. They can click the button, but they can always, they would go back and forth. If I turn it off, then that means that none of my students can use the main ideas button. So if you do feel like it's cheating, then you can do all on, all off for your whole class or by individual student. All right, let me make sure I put that on. So I'll be shocked next time when I can't find the main ideas button. Okay, so so that's the key on your lesson, is that you want to choose which of those options. Am I just reading, doing the investigation, doing the super simple science? So the one next piece would then be assessment. So you roll down and then you have your assessment options. So typically the order that these are in are from formative to summative. So you've got the show what you know is going to be a formative assessment. That's going to be a written assessment in the notebook. There'll be lesson games. So these are formative assessments, the lesson review game, and you've probably seen these before, like the building blocks. You can also get to it on the lesson game. So these would be like multiple choice questions that students will answer. So they're good for review, or sometimes I play them as like a Jeopardy game with my class. And then finally, you can link to the assessment here. And so that's the test for that chapter. And so the purple will have the default tests for the chapter. And I think actually this is being relayed out, the assessment. We are now creating like an assessment library. So it should be a little easier to use. Right now, like some teachers were confused about the My District's test versus other teachers' tests. So in our settings, we now will, very soon you'll see like a simple assessments library. It'll default to just the test for lesson 1, but you can more easily pull in questions from other tests and other lessons if you want to. So that's basically the key for the lesson overview page. Let me stop and see if there's questions in chat. Are we doing okay, Lori? It looks like you've answered them. Kim asked a question I think everybody would be interested in, like, can you keep students from reading ahead? So in your settings, you actually can really kind of surprisingly lock down everything. So in the student access point, so if I'm in student access, I chose settings on the upper left corner and then student access. And then you can say, you know, prior to assignment, this middle section, prior to assignment, students can view unit projects, investigation, text with notes, lesson game. So I could turn all this off and literally they couldn't see the projects. They could not see any of the investigations. They can't read the text and they can't see the lesson games. So then everything is basically on lockdown, and it's not until I assign it that they would actually get to see those pieces. So that's one choice that you have. We do leave it on by default just because a lot of times teachers are kind of like, where'd everything go? and if you ever have a kid who's like, I can't see the lesson game, it might be because you've changed these settings here. So then that's the nice thing about that sign in as a student too, because you can always go in and sign in to see, are you crazy or are they crazy? So you can control access here in this student access part. I'm not going to hit update. Any other questions so far? Okay. So then that is kind of the basics of the, kind of each unit and each lesson. You want those key pages are the unit overview page and the lesson overview page. The new shift, so this is the big difference if you were using, especially for K-5, it'll be a bigger shift. For middle school, it'll be a very small shift. It'll just be like really all these small improvements that you'll love. So in elementary, the way that it shifted is this new updated slideshow format, which I kind of gave you a couple little hints at. So here is the new version, this green button, right? The investigation activity. If you click play, then it will bring it up in presentation mode. And this will have all the pieces of the investigation and all the notes built in one place. Currently, if you're using elementary, you were using this thing that now has the red. So it says retiring September 30th, 2023. And it was called fast track and extensions. And so the fast track and extensions was a whole separate page. And so the way that you were using it before, like it'll look actually pretty similar. So let me just compare. So you used to see this, and now you'll see this. So hopefully I'll go back and forth a couple times. So like it should be pretty similar looking. So it was a page on like just a web page that had all these like extra pieces that you would open up and close. You had these different sections. You'll still have all those same sections. So that little table of contents, the pieces are all going to be the same there. So if you did any planning where you said, I like or don't like a certain part, like I'm going to use developing a model of matter or not use it, that will all, like you shouldn't have to replan anything. So it's just the layout that's going to be a little different. So right now you had the sections here, and then in order to get it to work, most teachers clicked this present slides button. So you clicked here, and this was kind of good, and it was very helpful because it then would let you just go through all the slides in order. Okay, so that was what most teachers did, is they clicked present slides. The downside was to get students to fill anything out, they had to scroll down here and then use this green box. Or if you wanted to model for them, right, you had to like go out of the slides, come back to the box. And then you wanted to teach something else, and so you'd say, oh, let's do blowing up balloons. And so you would teach using the slide, and then they would scroll down and then they would type their answers in here. So the feedback that we got is that there was just too much back and forth. Like you just said, like you had to open this section and then you had to close the section, and then you had to scroll up and you had to scroll down, you had to scroll left and right. So like it was nice to have everything on one page, but what we've tried to do instead is put it all in one slideshow. So it should feel very similar where we click through, and actually this is the same slide we saw before, right? So like the content didn't change at all. So like same questions, same slide. And then the big difference is going to be whenever it's time for students to write in their journal or in their interactive student notebook in middle school, then the green prompts will be here, and then students can type just directly on the slide. You don't have to have them do this on the slide. So if you are having students fill stuff out online, great, they can do that. If you're not, then this is just the signal to you, if you're just teaching this, that you're like, oh, see this green thing? You should all be in your notebook or in your print journal or in your print notebook and filling out this question. But I think how it's going to help everybody a lot. In middle school, you had a button over here that said, like you had a green button that said notebook. And so you had to just be very careful to look for that sacred notebook button to know whenever students had to fill out prompts in their notebook. And so hopefully those days are long gone. Like you will now see it right on the screen and you will immediately know, I can have students write in their notebook here. So let me show you another example of it. Is when you're doing the investigation, it says like, let's conduct a science talk. So that'll be all the same, right? Let's have the same questions in here. For middle school, instead of having that black sidebar that you could never get rid of was over on the side, there'll be now an orange teacher note button. So any of those lesson support buttons will be in here. So you can still click it. It'll still be on the slide at point of use, but it won't take up, a fifth of your slide over on the side. So you'll now have full slides in middle school, and then you'll have an orange button that you'll use instead. And then whenever students are supposed to do something in their notebook, you'll have the green notebook here. So it should be very clear as to when they answer in their notebook and when you're discussing stuff. So on the left, you're discussing, let the air out of the balloon, and here's a discussion question. When we let air out, why did it get smaller? And there are still the sample answers, so all that's the same. So still the sample answers, and then students would just type in their notebook here. So I think the other really great thing for both elementary and middle school teachers is you can see all the notebook prompts without having to click a button or without having to scroll down below the slides. So whether your students are using the print journal and notebook, or whether you're using the online digital version, it should be easier now for you to model that step for them and model that process for them. Okay. Cool. Let me stop. I'll kind of leave it on that slide and stop and see if there's questions on that. So one question I saw that I haven't answered yet somewhere was of the present slides button. So Laura kind of already answered it, but like, so this basically is the present slide button on steroids, right? So like this will now let you, instead of having to go here, present slides, come out of it, present slides, come out of it, you'll just be in this format and to be able to present the slides. And then when you are going through, the nice thing is you can jump to the spot you want to jump to. So if you know that you just want to jump straight to the making sense of phenomena at the end, then you can click on that and it'll just go straight to that slide. Or you can just, and you see I'm on slide 37 now. So you can navigate the slides here with the slide numbers, or just click through, just go left and right to navigate, or you can go just to the section you want. So the navigation piece, I mean, definitely play around with it before school, just so you get a little comfortable with it. But you will now have just so many ways to get straight to where you need to go. Should just be immensely easier. And then anything else? Let's see. Yes, there was a lot of clicking before. Thank you. And thank you to all of you who put in. There's too much clicking for elementary, or I can't go up and down. So for elementary, every single one of these should now be on your lesson overview page. And again, because they're brand new, like if you see any issues, please put them in. You should have this green new format button, and then the old one. Now again, we're not retiring this until really end of September, and that is just a like kind of a tentative date. So like if we find a lot of teachers need more transition time, then we'll still give you the option to the older one. You know, but I think it's going to be pretty quickly that everybody be like not using it. So we'll track numbers here and make sure that we don't want to change things too quickly on you, so, or on other teachers that aren't here right now. So we'll give you some time to make sure that you get to play around with the new version. So another question was though, like for elementary, they're all out, so they all should be here. Middle school, they are not there yet. So if you go to the lesson overview for middle school, I want to say we have probably a week or two before they'll all be released. Like we're getting very, very close, but it'll appear right here in the same spot in that investigation slideshow. So you'll see the same thing where you'll see like, it's like the new one will come out here. And then instead of having the old presentation method where you had like the, you know, like kind of the gray bars here. So instead of having this orange lesson support stuck in the bar, it'll just be the little orange here, but the slide itself will be the exact same. And then as an example in middle school, so, you know, what the thing that drove me crazy when I was using middle school, I like the slides, I think they're very helpful, but like, notice I just clicked through like 4 slides, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all those were like discussion slides and like, which was great. But then a lot of times I didn't know when I was teaching middle school, like when did they need to write in their notebook? And so that green notebook button was the key, is you had to keep your eye out for that and be like, okay, good. Here's where students are now going to add labels showing carbon dioxide. So now this will just be built into the slide. So it should be much more obvious when you hit the notebook times. It shouldn't be any guessing games in middle school anymore. So the middle school one should be very soon, and you'll get that same, like there'll be a big, like, you know, FYI that these have been put out that they're for middle school.
Nathan,
right. Yes.
There's a question in the Q&A that says, with the new slideshow, does it indicate which parts have been included in the fast track investigation? We have time.
Yes. So that was another annoying thing, is that with the fast track versus extensions, you had to choose one or the other. And we got a lot of feedback from teachers that drove everybody crazy, that like I can only assign one or the other to students. And if you assigned the wrong one, then students were not seeing it. And so that part was very frustrating. So now in the investigation, they will include all the extensions and the regular, the ones that are in the journal. And so like you can see the little smaller text here that has the extensions, but they are going to be included by default. You can hide them and take them out if you don't want them, but the way that you'll see them in the slideshow, if I click on it, like it'll be clearly labeled as extension, and then it'll give you any directions that go with that extension. And then there will also be a link straight to any handouts that are needed. So this one had a handout where students filled out this, you know, what happened when I mix salt with water. And so this was kind of buried in the materials and you had to go searching for it. So hopefully now it'll be at point of use. Whenever you have an extension, whenever you need an extension handout, that they can do that extension. Or you can just, or students, and you can just skip the slide because you just see it says extension. So you just say, I'm just gonna skip it. I just like lost my train of thought. So, or you can skip the extension, and then whenever you're at one that does not stay an extension, right? So this blowing up balloons, these are going to match whatever the headers are that are in the journal. So it should be pretty clear. Like if you just follow the journal, then that'll be any of these headers that don't say extension. And then the extensions are still there as an option. So let me go to, here, yeah. So any of these big ones, blowing up balloons, developing a modern vocabulary. So these will all be headers that are straight out of the journal. And then the extension is the little extra pieces here.
Excellent. There was another question that, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to finish?
Yeah, well, that ties to kind of the other issue of like editing then. So so I just hit play. So I just hit the present. So that's like kind of the easier default method if you just jump right in. If you hit the edit preview button, it'll make you make a copy of it. So I should have actually given it a name, but so I'm making a copy now, and it's submitting, and it's making a copy of the entire slideshow. And then now I can edit everything through here. So for elementary and middle school, we've been getting lots and lots of requests for this. Elementary, you couldn't edit at all. Middle school was very limited editing. So you then now have a lot more control than you used to over editing. So the way this works is you are in a slide and I can click on it, and then you can just literally just like, type over the text that's right there. You can change the images. You can change the background image. You can actually do way more than you'll need to. Like you can change the padding of the box. So you probably will never use that, but you can add a border if you want. But the nice thing is that you do have a lot of control, and it should be very intuitive. So you can change out your pictures here or add background images. You can, you could delete the video. You could add your own videos, add your own images into here. There will be some warning signs here, like this not editable or removable. This is saying because it's a notebook prompt that is like in the journal and in the prompt. So we don't want you to mess with this one. You could always just make a copy of this slide. And you could just, make your own copy or add a slide. And then you could like knock out that notebook piece, but hopefully that will give you kind of warnings, but everything else will let you edit it, change the images that are there as you're going through and add text in. And you can delete the slides, add slides, and you can make as many versions of this as you want for the slide builder. So this will be the exact, and the other thing that we're super excited about for Brittany's question is this is the exact same for elementary and for middle school. So everybody will get these ability to edit the slides. Right now in middle school, you can edit the text and you can hide slides, and that's it. So now you'll be able to make a lot more changes. And I would take that with a grain of salt, right? It's like, so it's great to be able to make changes. It's nice to be able to throw your own images on here. But, obviously, if you have your own Google Slides, your own PowerPoint, or whatever your district uses, don't go recreate everything and build it all in our system. But this should just give you a lot more power if you want to change a vocab word or like, make something much more specific. It'll let you control that. There is this nifty Explore the Slide Builder. So when you first open one of these for elementary or middle school, click on this blue Explore the Slide Builder. And this will give you a nice little tour. It's not super long, and it's very functional as far as tour goes, I think. So it says, like look for this button to update the text, change the style, and add images. And then you can either learn more about it or you can just click to the next one. So it'll kind of take you through like the very key things, like here's where I add, delete, or duplicate slides. So just definitely click on that and go through the key pieces. Where you find it, that's actually a good point. Let's do that one together. So if you have made another slideshow, there's this My Slideshows button, and this is where you can see the other slideshows that you've created. So do actually give it like a legit name, like period B or second grade or whatever the year is. So My Slideshows right here is how you get to those new versions of them.
And then how would they share that with other teachers?
So I don't know if you can share slideshows yet with other teachers. You can share assessments with other teachers. I don't know about slideshows yet. That was supposed to be the next big thing once we got this new builder done. So we are hopefully by August, September, going to have all of K-12 social studies and all of K-8 science converted over to this new slideshow builder. And so then the beauty of that is it lets our software team then give us a lot more features and abilities. So I think the next step will be to be able to take that and share it with teachers. You can share it with students right now with the create assignment. So when you do create assignment, you can choose which of the investigations slideshows to share with students. And then we should be coming soon, hopefully, to share with teachers. But it would not hurt. Like it never hurts. If anything that's not out yet for software, like please throw it in info@teachtci or put in feedback. Doesn't have to be long, just a one line that just says, hey, you want to make sure that we can do X, Y, and Z. And Kimberly asked also about like, will it save for next year? So yes. So just like assessments save. So anything you save to your account stays with you. And if you change grades and come back 3 years later, it's all still saved because it's just tied to your account. So they should, assessments will save, any new lesson guides will save, any edits that you make will save. Okay. All right, I'm trying to think if I've thought of anything else big. And so one other big shift, or actually we're kind of shifting into the new resources time. So before we do that, let's do just questions on the slideshow editor. And then I'll show you a couple new exciting things. So one other thing you can edit now is vocab cards. We've been asking for that for 80 years. Well, not that long, but I have been wanting it for that long.
Nathan,
so any other questions on slideshow?
There's still a question in the Q&A saying,
okay,
when we're going through a slideshow as a teacher, can I control which slide everyone is on at which slide the students are on, or do I have to have students individually go to the slide that I am on?
Yeah, so the difference was that right now you can now share the slideshow, but you don't have to share it with them. So if you want to lead students through it and not have them in the slideshow, especially at like K2, I mean, I would have them like using their journal and I'm the only one presenting it. And then they follow along and I'm modeling and then they're writing in their journal. So that's always an option of like only you see it or you share it with students. We don't yet have the ability to like really like force where like the whole class is on slide 7 at the same time, and then you move it forward, kind of like a Minty, like I was using here, like where I could move the slide forward. But that is definitely something that I know we've had some of my elementary teachers have asked for that. So please do put in that feature. So again, you just email, well, I guess everybody shouldn't email info today because they'll know I told you to do it. But if you can do it like over the next couple of weeks as you're planning, so just email info@teachtci and just say, want to be able to control the slide that students are on when they're looking at it. That would be extremely helpful. I think I've had a lot of middle school teachers that have said that'd be good too. So please do put that in as a software because it's on the list. I need more people to ask for it so we can raise it up. The more teachers that ask, then the more likely it'll be. The other thing I'll show you in a second is that our new professional development that's built in is also on these slideshows. So if you have ideas there about ways to make that better, then that would be good. And I think you're right, Rebecca, that I think Land School Air does do that. I don't know if that's free though, or if districts have to purchase it. Because it does let you, there are definitely apps in there that let you control. You might have to, yeah, I think you do have to purchase it, but that'd be worth like looking at Land School Air and some of those others, like for now, until we can build out that piece there. Yeah. Oh, and Eileen also has a question in Q&A that I saw. If you don't mind, I'll just answer it aloud. Like, so Eileen, I know for the balloons, this one is a class, meant to be a class demo, so the teacher's the only one doing it with the balloon, and then there's an option. If you are not worried about latex in the classroom, you could then hand out all the balloons to students, have them do it on their own, but that is definitely something that we were worried about when we were building this investigation. So that's why this one in particular is a teacher demo that they do it, and then students are analyzing it as they go through the demo here. Yeah. All right, so that is slideshow. So let's look then at other new things. So a couple other things that we've been working on. Again, all of these are only from teachers asking us. So just please don't be shy about asking because that's how these get created. So the first one is, if you haven't clicked on vocab cards recently, if you click over on the left side, so the vocab cards are now editable. So you have a vocab card, you can click and view them. So that's just like it was before. So this used to be the only option, was to have students study versus flip card. But you can now edit the vocab card deck if you want. You can add your own terms, delete or change our definitions, add images to them. And then when you do that, let me just delete one here. So say I delete that term and delete this term. Then you can hit done and notice that second deck pops up. So you can't mess up the original, right? So our original TCI vocab card deck will always be there, and then you can edit the deck here and make a copy of it. And then students will find these decks in their same place on the vocab cards that's on their left side of the screen. So hopefully that'll give you more flexibility in vocab to be able to tweak and edit those. And yes, Victoria, that's one that we have been asking for that for a while. So thank you for doing that. It was a lot more software work than we realized. So I really appreciate you guys putting in the request for it. So vocab, and then there's also a little note here. Check out our new vocab game. If you haven't checked that out, I'm pretty excited about these as well. These are in every grade from 3rd grade up through 8th grade. I would love to get feedback from K2 teachers if you think they are maybe transferable, or if they need to be simplified a little bit more, or what you think about doing them in K2. But these are now in each of your lessons, you should have 2 types of games. So before, when you clicked on lesson games, there was just the review game, like that's the building blocks. And now there's also going to be a vocab game, like the community cleanup here. So let me just go to the games library. You can see there's all different types. There's like Adventures in the Sky, Powered by Pizza. So like 5 or 6 different little games. And there's always just, some little goofy things they're trying to do. So they play a little piece of the game, and then they'll have to stop and answer vocab questions as they go through. And then the game questions and the results are tracked for them. So they'll play the happy game, whatever, picking up trash as we drive through. So I'll give you 2 seconds for this. I'll pick up the trash. Let's get to a question in a second. Where's the trash? Well, okay, so now whenever I hit the stop, then I have to figure out a gas found in the air that's used to make food by photosynthesis. So you click yours and you go, oh, correct, I got it. So they're super simple. And then you can restart the game at the top. So there's a purple button here to restart the game. You can manage whether students have that choice to restart. So you can lock them all down if you want, or you can have it totally freeform. So you always have that choice for both the lesson review games and then also for the vocab games. Okay? So right now, those are in every single lesson for 3rd grade through 8th grade for the vocab games. And Nicole or Tiffany or Laura, do you know the answer to that vocab question? Because there's a really good question about, like, if we add vocab words, I don't think it automatically goes to the vocab game, but that would be a great request to be able to do that. I think software would be able to.
I believe currently it just lives inside the vocab cards if you add a new vocabulary term.
I think so.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that sounds right for right now. I don't think it automatically goes into the vocab game. Do you know which lesson I was on? Was it this one? Okay, yeah. The other thing I forgot to mention is that there is now a print button for the vocab cards. So if you want to print them out as so you print them on a double side edge, and then students can use these as study cards. So that gives like a print option for it as well. So that would be one that you could do. So yes, so we're very excited about both types of vocab games and the vocab cards that are there. These reference libraries, we've also been building a lot of these out. So if you haven't checked these out recently, click on biographies down here, and you'll see a whole bunch of other resources that continue to be added. One thing that we're excited about is adding videos in the biography library. So any of them that have a little green video sign on them, you can click and you can play video. And I'll just play a couple seconds here, but you'll see the 3-minute kind of content video.
Do you like puzzles? Benjamin Banneker loved them. He solved puzzles and made puzzles for others. His favorites were math puzzles. Once, Banneker wanted to build a wooden clock. He solved that problem like a math puzzle. During his lifetime, he had seen only 2 other timepieces, but he figured out how each gear and wheel fit together. Then he carved all the parts and put them together. The clock kept the correct time for many years. Banneker was African American.
So lots of different videos that are being added in. So check those out. And then this is a great one also to request if you have either people important to your state or to your local area or to certain content areas. Please do request, because this is a place that we really are able to add over time into the biography bank. We're not going to mess up the textbook or journal on you, but we can add here a lot more biographies as you go through. A good place then to find the biographies are in the video library. So the video library will have any of the videos that are in your program. So for all the elementary programs, you'll see those video activities. The super simple science videos will be here. The opening videos for the units will be here. And then in middle school, this is the missing piece that I'm excited that will be coming out over the next couple months here, is you don't have a video activity right now, but yours will eventually be coming. And the first place that we're adding videos is just go straight to your video library. And there's only one in this program right here. So one so far, this biomass and energy and food webs. So this is going to be, there's going to be one of these videos for every single lesson in the program. So I can go to the reading here, and you can see that this is in the key science concept. So each chapter has a series of sections, and then it'll have a key science concept and then the summary. So in these key science concepts right now, they're diagrams, and they are beautiful diagrams in the book. but now they're going to be animated into content videos that you can use. And again, I'll just play a couple seconds of it.
When you make a tuna sandwich, you might use about 100 grams of tuna meat. How was the tuna fish able to grow from a small fry to the large adult fish humans catch and eat? To answer that question, we must understand how energy and matter are transferred within ecosystems. Ecosystems are made up of very intricate webs. No, not that kind of web. Food webs are made up of many connected food chains.
Okay, so
scientists use these imaginary...
But so like the idea you get here is so that this will be about 2-minute video here, and all of these are being produced in both English and Spanish. So you'll have a Spanish version as well if you need it. So be on the lookout for the key science concept that will be rolled out over the next couple of months. There is going to be one in every single lesson. So all 10 of these lessons and your ecosystems program will have a video that will summarize the key science concept for that lesson. And then longer term, it'll probably might be spring before we get them all added in. But what we're hoping to do is then give middle school teachers a third option on the lesson overview page, where you could do the text or the investigation, or you could have students watch that video, and then we're going to build in a series of questions that students will answer that will be automatically graded for you. So hopefully this will give you another nice third option in middle school. That'll be a good video-based version of the activity. All right, so I'll stop there and see if anybody had questions on anything that we've covered. And then if you want to go back to your menti.com for voting, I just have one question. This is just a open-ended question of just which of the, it could be feature, piece, something that you found even just on your own as you're clicking through while you've been sitting in here. Which new thing are you most excited about trying with your students or using with your students? And you can scan the code or put it in the Menti. And then while you're doing that, other teachers can add in any questions that you had there of any of these new pieces. And then we'll have just one last little piece here where I'm going to show you the new PD tools. And then hopefully we'll wrap up a little bit early. It'll be the first time in my life. I'll be very proud of that. All right, let me scan over and see how these are coming in. Great, so we've got 9 responses already. So new videos, great. Yeah, we've really been working hard to kind of give you more video options for direct teaching. Editing vocab cards is great. I did see Morris in the session. Morris, we told you vocab cards people are obsessed with. So everybody's loving them. Thank you so much for doing that. Editing the slides, great. Editing the slides, yes, for sure. Slides, using the slides, vocab options, cool. Slideshow editor, good. Videos, cool. Video in the middle school, great. Nice. Exciting, great. All right, well, thank you guys. So I want to show you one last thing that we're very excited about is this in-app professional development. So this is going to be very helpful when you are just looking for something else training wise, or if you have any teachers that ask you questions, or a new teacher comes to your school and they didn't have the full orientation that they got to go through, then this is going to be the new piece that we've been creating. There are a series of courses that are built into your program, and there'll be different levels. So there'll be a 100 series. There's a 200 series that's going to be on all the different LMSs. So if you use Google Classroom or Canvas or Schoology, there'll be trainings on those. So let's go live and look at where you find those. So in any of the programs, up here in the upper left-hand corner, so up here close to settings, you'll see professional development. So click on professional development. And then here's where you can kind of see the courses that I was just talking about. So there's a 100 series. There's 2 courses so far, a getting started with TCI, and there is a assigning and grading with TCI. Then there's the 200 level, which is the Classroom, Canvas, and Schoology. And then our first 300 level course, which has come out, is called Building a Cooperative Classroom, which is very similar to what Brian was just doing earlier today in your session. So let me play there's like a 1-minute intro here that kind of tells you how the courses work. And then I want to ask you which of these badges you think you would like to go for or probably try out. And
Hi,
Nicole, just let me know
and
if the
welcome
sound
to
is up or down.
TCI's in-app professional development. My name's Brian. I'm a former classroom teacher, and I'm a professional development manager here at TCI. In our in-app professional development, you're going to be able to take courses on getting started with TCI, managing your students, learning management systems, and more. And within each one of the courses, we break it down into interactive challenges where you're going to focus on completing 3 different things with each challenge. First, you'll watch a screencast where features are modeled for you. Second, you'll click a link that will take you inside your program where you're going to be able to explore and practice. Third, you'll answer questions to test your knowledge, and you're going to get 2 attempts at items, and the questions will be automatically scored, whether it's drag and drop or even multiple choice. When you're all done with the course, you'll earn a certificate and badge, which you could even add to social media or your email signature. These challenges and courses will be fun and interactive. You'll even be able to pause, walk away, and come back because your work's going to save, so you can come back later, retake it, and review your work. So now it's time to go ahead and get started by taking your course and earning your first badge and certificate as TCI helps to bring learning alive in your class. Hi,
All right.
and
Oh, no, stop. Okay, so great. So that is a quick intro to the way the classes will work. And so I just want to show you that just those 3 steps, because that's really how it starts. You just click on your class, getting started with TCI. And then like Brian was talking about it, is there'll be always this 1, 2, 3 steps. So the one thing that's a little bit tricky, and you'll see that the same slideshows that we've been using in the new process here. So is that you're going to first watch the intro video. So he's going to go over kind of all the basics for you. About program content and unit openers. So I won't make you watch that one, but so that's like a quick 2-minute video where he introduces it. And then you click forward to the next slide, and that's where you'll see the 3 steps. So watch the video that summarizes it. Then this orange link, the Explore Your Account, that's the kind of the key. So when I click on this, it's going to open a new tab. I'm going to click Explore. And the cool thing is that it'll work no matter which program you're in. So it's going to, I'm in 5th grade right now, so it's going to 5th grade. So then I would do whatever it says to do here. So it has these bullets. It says find all the units in your program. So I go back to my new tab that it just opened, and I look for the units. So I'd say, oh, there's unit 1, living things, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4. So just do what you see in these bullets here. See the available libraries and unit lessons. So I would look for the libraries and unit lessons. Let me see if I can find those. So here's libraries. So there's these videos, games, and biographies libraries that we looked at earlier, and then here are the lessons. Okay. So you'd follow the bullet points, and then you click on the orange, answer these questions, and then these are the questions that you'd answer. So it says you can see all the available units and links to the unit projects on the program content page. So throw in chat. What should I be putting here? A or B, true or false? And I need to go back and look probably. Can I see units and can I see links to the unit projects? Let's see. From the program content page, I can see units for sure. Are there links to the projects? Yes. Yeah. So down here, I have direct links that I could jump straight to the performance assessment or straight to the making sense of the anchoring phenomenon. So it looks like those are both there. So then you'd pick A, true, and you submit, and we got it correct. So we got a point. So very simple, right? So like you just answer the questions that are tied to each of those pieces. But this is nice. So you can move and navigate around based on what you need. So if you don't need help on program content, you can skip that. You can go to flexible lesson options. If you're just using it just for your own benefit, just pick the ones that you're interested in and use those to study. And then there are some districts that are also going to use this as more of a full PD course. So they'll use this as their orientation training. And in that case, then you probably would have to answer each of the questions, and it'll tell you at the end, when you get to the very end, have you answered all the questions? So here, no, I have done poorly. I have 26 unanswered questions. So if your district is having you actually answer all the questions and do the full course, then this would let you know which questions I still need to go back and answer at the end of the course. But if you're just using it on your own or just teaching with another teacher, it should be really helpful to have almost each one of these sections, like how you navigate the sidebar. They'll have a quick little video that teaches you how to do it, give you a chance to explore it on your own, and then have a couple questions you answer. So I am very excited about it. I think it will just kind of make life a lot easier for you learning the pieces, and we can roll out new features this way to you. So just let us know if you have feedback on which types of courses you'd like to take or any that you'd like us to add in. So right now, these are the courses that we have. Just from this list, if you, I don't know if I get them all on the screen at the same time, but if you could just throw in chat, which of these would you be the most likely to take at wherever you are today? So you could be, if you're brand new with TCI, I'd probably pick this getting started with TCI. If you've been doing a lot with us, you might be picking one of these cooperative classrooms near the bottom. So if you could throw that in chat, and then just be kind of thinking as well of what other things you could use training on. So this is what's near and dear to our heart. I mean, literally TCI was started 30 years ago as a professional development company. And that's all we did before we had any materials, was we did PD. So we absolutely love PD. And if you can think of something that we could do to help to make your lives easier and to help you teach using TCI, then please send us in that feedback to info@teachtci or use the feedback button to give us those ideas. All right, great. And it's interesting to see so many Google Classrooms and Schoologies. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of good help, just very clear steps that you'd follow for Google Classroom, but like this course makes it just a, super breeze to like get it all set up and going. So like that really makes it nice. Yeah, like pacing is a great idea, Eileen, just like different pacing ideas. Like we could definitely do a course on that. So yeah, so please do send in ideas as you have them and let us know those different pacing ideas. So I think we're wrapping up here. So the middle one is what we just talked about. We do have a nifty newsletter, an email newsletter. So like that would be great if you want to sign up for that. And then if you haven't connected on our Facebook, we have a lot of good like teacher to teacher assistance on Facebook where like a teacher will ask a question and then everybody will help each other out. So you can always ask us directly, but doing peer to peer is sometimes a nicer way to get answers for things. So just please make sure you connect in those different ways, Facebook, Twitter. And if you do tweet, I guess the bird, technically the app is still a bird, but it's changing to an X if you use Twitter. I think Elon just changed the Twitter symbol. But if you want to be entered for a drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card, and if you use either Facebook or Twitter, then just send a note or post one of the notes on either Twitter or Facebook @TeachTCI, as long as you just use the @TeachTCI, and then the hashtag TCI Summit 23. Share one thing that you learned from your session or anything that you liked in the summit, and then you would be entered for a $50 Amazon card. And then the last piece will be, Laura or Nicole, can you throw in the chat the, whatchamacallit, the form to fill out. So this last piece will be this form. And when you fill out the online form, that's what you'll do to get your certificate of attendance. It'll get emailed to you, and then also you'll get some fun TCI swag, like a little mug and some things. So please fill out that back to school feedback form. I'm going to click on it in the chat as well. So it should look like this. So it's not super difficult. It's just basically address and contact info, and then just a couple questions about how you like the summit. So please do fill that out so we can get that. And we did get the iPad winner, right? Oh, thanks, Laura. Yes, so Crystal was our iPad winner. So that was awesome that she entered. So just if you want your chance also to win, make sure that you get in here for the summit feedback. And then also you can tweet for that $50 Amazon gift card. Those are the two pieces to do. So I'll leave it on this one if you need the hashtag sign. And then in chat is that back to school summit link that you would use. And thank you guys very much for being here. It was good to connect with so many of you. And just, again, please don't be shy about reaching out and letting us know what else we can keep improving. It's been very exciting this summer to roll out the new slideshows and to roll out the new vocab cards and all the other pieces. So just let us know. So thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your day if you're on the Pacific Coast, and then just wrap it up if you're on the East Coast. And thank you guys. Looking forward to a good year teaching TCI. I hope you have a fantastic year. And so we will sign off in a second here. I'll at least go off video, but I'll hang on to see if there's any other questions that you guys have. And y'all can throw them in Q&A or chat if there's anything that we've missed that you have a question for. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Christine. Thank you, Brenda and Connie. Thanks, Kimberly. Michelle, great, thanks.